So we have seen binary files and text files in the context of the Hello World program we have written. What we're going to do next is we're going to install a good text editor. So the text editor we were using was Notepad. Notepad doesn't have very good features. So we are going to install something called Visual Studio Code for Python, for editing Python. So it has a lot of functionalities other than what Notepad provides. Normally, Visual Studio Code is an IDE used for different programming languages. In this case, we're going to do it for Python. So what we're going to do next is we're going to install Visual Studio Code and do the Hello World again in Visual Studio Code. So what I'm going to do is in Google, I'm searching for Visual Studio Code download, straightforward, first link, and Windows. I'm going to download the Windows version. So it is getting downloaded right here. The download is finished and I'm going to run the executable. Pretty similar things you will be able to do it both in Linux as well as Mac. Visual Studio Code is available for all operating systems. So this is the location which I'm going to select. It is the default. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to click next. Next. I'm not going to change anything here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to check everything here. So if you're on Windows, some of these options won't be available in other operating systems, but if you're on Windows, feel free to check all this. This is all convenient options. If it is not there, also nothing is going to happen. It's just easy to open Visual Studio Code from Windows Explorer context menu. So I'm going to check all those things. Add to path, I'm going to add to path as well. That requires a shell restart. So I'm going to click next. So it is installing. Installation is almost done. I'm going to click finish with launch Visual Studio Code. So the Visual Studio Code, I'm going to launch it from here after finish. So it'll start now itself. So this is how Visual Studio Code looks. Like I mentioned before, it is nothing but Notepad on steroids. It is a text editor. You can use it for editing any text files. Normally we use it for programming or computer programming, but you can edit any text file in this. In our case, we are going to use it for Python. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new file, clicking on new file. In my case, it's a text file. You can edit binary files as well in Visual Studio Code. I'm selecting the programming language here. I have selected Python and I'm going to type the same Hello World program here. No changes. I'm going to save the file which I just created. You can save it in any convenient location of your choice. I'm just creating a folder here and naming it Hello. Save. So our program is ready. So one thing you have noticed here is there is a pop-up in the right side. In the right side bottom, as soon as you save the file, there is a pop-up came up. So do you want to install the recommended extension for Python? So which means that Visual Studio Code is familiar with Python and it would like to extend the Visual Studio Code with an extension to help and better understand Python code. As you can see, the colors are different. So we will discuss about the colors of the text. So the print is in a different color. The parenthesis is in a different color. And then the Hello World with the codes is in a different color. So all those are features of Visual Studio Code or any typical IDE, integrated development environment. So along with that, we can add more functionality if you install this particular extension. It is asking us to download and install. So I'm going to do that next. We can read the recommendations and things like that, but otherwise you can just go ahead and install. In our case, we're going to just press install. So I do recommend this for you as well. So it's a Microsoft extension for Python, and I'll tell you what it does and what is the use of it and how it works. All those things we will discuss shortly when we explain the Hello World. We have not yet explained the Hello World, how it works. So when we do that, we will get into this extension as well in our block diagram. So it is still installing, and there are documentation if you want to read. May not make much sense to you as of now. Hopefully in future it will make sense, but right now it doesn't. So it is pretty advanced stuff. Yeah, installation is done. So I'm going to close this page. This is done. You will see this uninstall button if it is done. Remember, to execute this file, we had to go to command prompt and we had to type Python and all that path, if you remember before, to execute the hello world. In this case, what we can do is we can just go and press some buttons. So that's what we're going to do next to execute this. So one thing I have done here is putting a red dot here, if you have seen. So this red dot, by clicking there, if you click there, there will be a red dot coming up. So it's called a breakpoint. I will explain it later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press a run. So there is go. After that, there is run and start debugging. So start debugging is nothing but step-by-step execution. So I'll discuss that later. But I just pressed that button, start debugging. So now I have selected the Python file. So there is a drop down comes. I selected the Python file, which means that I want to debug this particular file, which is there in the screen right now. That's what I mentioned by selecting Python file. As you can see here, the extension is coming into play. Let me show you. So it is automatically started a PowerShell, which is a shell. It has started right here and started executing some of the very complicated command. But at the end of the day, as you can see, it is starting that Python. So this is where we installed the Python, if you remember. So this is where the location of the Python, right? So let me erase all these things. My annotation is not readable, so I want to show you this Python path. So it is executing this one particular path right here, and in the end it is passing the file as well. So this is the file we have created. So basically this file right here. So that is a file which is being executed. Then there is so many other things in between. So that is for the debugging purpose. I will not get into the details of that. That's all part of the secret or the magic the extension is doing. So what just happened? When we press the run start debugging button, so run start debugging button, when we did that, so it automatically started a shell and started to execute commands on behalf of us. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. We didn't have to go to the command prompt and type this and that. So we are typing it in the text editor, pressing the button. There is keyboard shortcuts as well for this. I will show you that. The keyboard shortcut was F5. We'll use all the keyboard shortcut when we discuss debugging. So again, Control Z to take out some of my annotations. So the execution started. Right now the execution has broken at this LO line. So this LO has come up because of this red dot I put before, the red dot. So the execution is about to execute this particular line. So this is all the magic of Visual Studio Code and Python. So they are working together to give us all these features. So this is not executed right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this particular button right here so that it will execute that particular line. So we will see a lot of these things left, right, and center throughout this course. If you're not able to understand, that's okay. What you can see here, it is executed hello world. So we got the exact same output we got before in the console, in the command prompt, the shell. Whenever I see console, command prompt, terminal, all it is the same stuff. It's the black window where everything executes. So this is terminal, this is PowerShell, all those things are same. Console, terminal, command prompt, CMD, everything. So it has printed hello world here when I pressed that button. So once again, which button I pressed? So if you want, you can rewind. So I'll show it again. This is the button I pressed. First run, then start debugging. It'll come here and I press this button. I could have avoided this dot, but normally I want you to put that dot. Just click here so that this red dot will come here, which is a breakpoint, and then follow through the steps which we did. So again, coming back to the slide, we are still doing hello world in multiple different ways. Last time we installed Visual Studio Code, which is an IDE. These kind of advanced text editors are called IDE, or Integrated Development or Software Development Environment, IDE. So it's a class of softwares, like the image editors or text editors. IDE is an advanced text editor, which is Visual Studio Code. In this case, it's a free download available for all operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux. And we installed it. We wrote the same Hello World program and we debugged it. There is a slight difference between debugging and simply executing. We'll discuss that a lot in future. But in our case, we debugged it and we saw the Hello World getting executed.